Good morning, KD2. Let's see if you can remember about the clock hands and what they mean. Your aim today is I can watch clock hands on a clock to show o'clock times and half-past times. 1 hour later. I wake up at 7 o'clock. What will the time be in 1 hour? Remember, the big minute hand is at the 12, and that means o'clock. And it needs to go all the way around the clock face once, 60 minutes or 1 hour. And then what will it be pointing to? What will the small hour hand be pointing to in 1 hour? Let's see. 8 o'clock. I eat my breakfast at 8 o'clock. What will the time be in 1 hour? Do you know what the time will be in 1 hour? We were at 7 o'clock and we went 1 hour to 8 o'clock, and now we will go 1 hour to what time? 9 o'clock. That's right, because time goes in order. 7, 8, 9. That's the hours. I read my book at 11 o'clock. What will be the time in 1 hour? 11. What comes after 11? 12. 12 o'clock. I eat my lunch at 12 o'clock. What time will it be in 1 hour? Can you guess what time it will be in 1 hour? After 12 o'clock? 1 o'clock. I ride my bike at 2 o'clock. What will be the time in an hour? 2 o'clock. And then what time will it be? What comes after 2 o'clock? 3 o'clock. 2 o'clock. 1 hour later, 3 o'clock. I eat my dinner at 5 o'clock. What will be the time in 1 hour? Can you count on 1 from 5? 5 o'clock. All the way around for 1 hour to make it 6 o'clock. I have my bath at 6:30. What will be the time in 1 hour? Okay, so we're going 1 hour from 6:30 now. So the big minute hand is going to move from the 6 all the way around for 1 hour back to the 6. And the hour hand is going to move between this from the 6 and the 7 to the 7 and the 8 to make it 7:30. I have my bath at 6:30. Good night, bedtime. Time is measured in years, months, weeks, days, hours, minutes, and seconds. There are 24 hours in a day, which are made up of 2 lots of 12 hours, 12 in the morning and 12 in the afternoon. 1 hour is made up of 60 minutes. We can use clocks to help us tell the time. The big hand points to the minutes. This is called the minute hand. And the small hand points to the hour. This is called the hour hand. So what's the time here? When it is an o'clock time, the minute hand will point straight towards the 12. And the hour hand will point straight at the number. The minute hand points to the 12. And the hour hand points to the 3. Do you remember what time this will be? That's right, 3 o'clock. Let's practice again. We know half-past time. We know when the big hand points to the 6, it means half past. When time is half past, the hour hand, the minute hand will point to the 6. The hour hand will point halfway between one number and the next. The minute hand points to the 6, and the hour hand is halfway between the 7 and the 8. What is the time? 7:30. Which clock says 4:30? Let's look at the first clock. The big minute hand is pointing to the 12, which means it's an o'clock time. So does that say 4:30? No. Let's look at the next clock. The big minute hand is pointing to the 6 for 1/2 past. So that's correct for 1/2 past. But let's look where the small hour hand is. It's between the 6 and the 7. Does that mean 4:30? No, it doesn't. Let's click on the last clock. Well done, 4:30. Which clock says 9 o'clock? Remember, for o'clock, the big minute hand points to the 12, and the small hour hand points straight at the number. So what number are we looking for when we're looking for 9 o'clock? The number 9, that's right. Let's click on the middle clock. Well done. Which clock says 3:30? Let's find the correct face. So we're looking for one that says 1/2 past. So where does that mean that the big hand has to be? For 1/2 past, does the big minute hand point at the 12 or at the 6? You're correct, it does point at the 6. So let's look on either side, left and right, for the clocks that say 1/2 past. We're looking for 3:30. So for 3:30, is the clock hand going to be between the 3 and the 4 or the 8 and the 9? The 3 and the 4, well done. Let's click on the first clock. Well done. Which clock says 9:30? So we already know that it's not the first clock because the first clock says what? It says 2 o'clock, that's right. So we're looking for 9:30. Which clock says 9:30? The one with the small hour hand between the 11 and the 12, or the small hour hand between the 9 and the 10? Between the 9 and the 10, well done. 9:30 is the last clock, or the third clock. Well done. Which clock says 12 o'clock? Well done, that was quick, the first clock. Which clock says 1:30? Is it the clock that points at 7 o'clock? No, it's not the first one. Let's look at the second clock. The big minute hand points at the 6, which means it's 1/2 that hour. But let's see where the small hour hand points. It points between the 1 and the 2, halfway in between both those numbers. Does that mean it's 1:30? It does. Let's click on the middle clock. Well done. Which clock says 5:30? Is it the first clock? No, because it says o'clock with its big minute hand, so it's not the first clock. Is it the second clock? No, because the second clock's hour hand points halfway between the numbers 10 and 11, so it's not that clock either. Is it the last or third clock? Let's have a look and see. The big minute hand points to the 6, which means 1/2 past, and the small hour hand points between the 5 and 6. So yes, it's the third or last clock that says 5:30. Well done. Which clock says 8:30? The first clock says 8:30. Well done, because the big minute hand points to the 6, which means 1/2 past, and the small hour hand points halfway between the 8 and the 9, so that means 8:30. Well done. The minute hand has fallen off my clock. Look carefully at the hour hand. Can you tell what the time is? Now remember, when it's an o'clock, the small hour hand points directly at the number. When it's a half past time, the small hour hand points between two numbers. So what time is this? That's right, it's 9 o'clock. The hour hand is pointing straight at the 9, so it's 9 o'clock. Well done. Let's try it. The minute hand has fallen off my clock. Remember, the minute hand is the big hand. Look carefully at the hour hand, and can you tell what time it is? Now remember, this small hour hand is halfway between the 6 and the 7. So that means that it will be a what time kind of time? A half past time. Well done. Can you tell me what it is? Half past what? That's right, half past 6. Well done, KG2. You are getting so good at telling the time.